Thank you, Mark. Thank you for the beautiful introduction. And thank you all for coming to sit today to practice and rest together a bit into this day. I'll name that I was scared to approach this day in in the teaching context. And why? This is a day that contains so much for us and where there's such a range of feeling that it brings up. And I'm just aware of that in myself. And I'm aware of that probably in this room of 127 human, 28, 29 and growing in this community of people sitting here together right now, that there's such a range of what's alive for us on this day. And two, in these days of being a Jew in the world, and we're just off of Yom HaShoah last week and Yom HaZikaron yesterday. So this day, Yom HaAtzmaut, for some is this incredibly joyful day of a celebration of the aliveness of the Jewish people and what it is to have a home in a world that's persecuted us for such a long time. And for some, this is the Nakba. This is a catastrophic day, the displacement of the Palestinian people, violence and death. And so these days on the calendar here in Israel, Palestine bring up so much for so many of us. And I want to invite in first this teaching that what it brings up, I think, for so many of us, and also just in the world that we live in, where we're so verbal so much of the time, it brings up discourse, it brings up thoughts, it brings up opinions. I think that was part of my fear of addressing this together, was here to teach practice, like not get political. And so what is it really, all the politics? What it really, really is we know that the body has sensation. It experiences sensation. And from that arises emotion, feeling, tone, right? So maybe like there's like a little bit of fullness in my stomach. And then that might bring up a sense of like discomfort in the emotional realm. And then maybe a thought like, oh, like, did I eat like a little too much of that pie or whatever? So I'm going to invite us today to come into the world of sensation in the body and into the emotional realm. We're going to rest in those two realms. And we're going to welcome sensation again and again. We're going to welcome the emotions that are here. And this to me feels very connected to this week's Parsha, which is Parshat Acharei Mot Kedoshim. And in the Parsha, it is written, Kedoshim tiyu, ki kadosh ani Hashem Elokechem. Be holy. This directive, be holy, for I, your God, am holy. So in that, there's this invitation to we're more than an invitation, we're commanded to mirror God in holiness. And I want to invite that part of embodying this holiness is perhaps connecting to this name for the Creator, which is one of many, the Ein Sof. The Ein Sof, the without end, the infinite vast space. And we hear this again and again also in our liturgy, and we'll sing together at the end of our sit from Kabbalat Shabbat, Yodu Shimcha Gadol V'Nora Kadosh Hu. This again imploring, they shall know your name, God, which is large, Gadol V'Nora, awe-inspiring, holy. So there's this sense that the Creator is vast and expansive and infinitely so, and can hold it all. And we can practice in this way. We can make our awareness vast and expansive so that it can contain everything. And in this way, we meet the commandment of this week to be holy, for our God is holy, to mirror our Creator. So it's like that expanding our hearts, expanding, you can even feel that, which we'll move into practice in just a moment. We'll practice with it together, but we can sense even for a moment the way that as we make our awareness vast and expansive, we mirror the Creator's infinite, infinite, infinite space. And in that, there's just like, oh, maybe a breath. There's containment. There's containment for all of the emotional experience that is live in us, always. And on this day, and really on every day. So I thank you for being here for practice today. It really, yeah, it's just as Hashem is it's awing to us, this sense of God as Nora, as awe-inspiring. So too, it's awe-inspiring, I think, for us to contain all that it is to be a Jew in the modern world. And you can just maybe raise your hand if like that's something you struggle with, what it is to be a Jew and alive and living and breathing in this climate and everything that it contains, everything that we're going through as a people and have gone through all throughout history. So um, I applaud us all that we're here and we're doing the work and we're sitting, like we're sitting. We're trying to, yeah, we're willing to be here and meet what's here, even in all of the difficulty that it contains. So I applaud us. And let's sit. Let's sit. And it can even be lovely. That's what we'll discover, maybe. I hope. Bless us with that. So, friends, I invite you to find a way of sitting that feels comfortable. So too, this mirroring of the divine. So allow yourself to sit in a way that feels even maybe regal. Finding this balance between your seat firmly rooted, a sense of uprightness, a sense of awakeness, and also just a sense of comfort and loveliness and openness. Just take a few moments here to allow your body to settle into its seat, finding this balanced sense of connection. Connecting to the breath, connecting to the body, and doing it with such kindness, to you for showing up today to sit. You're invited to take a moment of care at the beginning of this sit to notice what is here alive on your heart, in your body today. And I invite you to notice whatever feeling or sensation is most prominent in the body. It could be strongly prominent or not particularly prominent, but just to notice what's here. Right, it really might be that there's nothing particularly prominent, and that's also welcome. You can just notice that too, if that's your experience. And I invite you now, as an offering of kindness to what is here and alive in this sensation, perhaps feeling tone of what's here, to allow, connecting with what is here and allowing it. Full, complete, utter allowing. You might say to what's here, welcome. Even naming it if that feels helpful for you, the sensation in the body or the emotion, and just saying to it, both in word and in tone, welcome. Really, really welcome, dear. And now, with this real sense of kindness to what's here, we're going to together open up our awareness, allow ourselves to sense into that vastness, beautiful, delicious vastness of the Ein Sof, the infinite, vast light that can contain it all, the womb-like Shekhinah that has no bounds in what it can leachil, contain. So you're invited to feel the left side of your body. Maybe just feeling the outline of the left side of your body. So perhaps it's like the top of your keter, of your crown, the crown of your head, all the way down to your left big toe, feeling that whole outline of your body. And then just letting it open and expand. Feeling the awareness stretch and expand all the way to the left side. And really letting your awareness travel to fill beyond the confines of the room you're in, really just to stretch the left side of the body out and out, perhaps to the edges of the town or the city you're in, and then perhaps beyond that to the state you're in, even to the bounds of the country that you're in, to the oceans beyond it. And then opening up into this vast space. And seeing if there's something lovely in that opening. Resting in the opening on the left side. And then breathing into the right side of the body, noticing first the outline of the right side of the body as if, again, as if you could draw with the pencil the outline of the right side of the body from the keter, the top of your head, all the way down the body, down the arm, down the leg, until the right side of the big toe. And then feeling the bounds of the body dissolve and expand out. Expanding, expanding out. expanding maybe first to the confines of the room you're in, then perhaps to your home, and then perhaps expanding out to fill the space of the whole city or town you're in, and then perhaps the state, perhaps the country, perhaps the oceans beyond, and then perhaps to space, open and vast. And feeling now together both sides of the body open and vast. And maybe feel that this vastness too is loving presence. Empty, open, and loving. As if it's embracing you, even as it expands further and further out. Embracing you in its vastness. And then opening up the front of the body. So feeling the whole front of your body from the top of your head all the way down your face, your neck, your torso and heart space, your belly, the pelvis, the legs, the ankles, the feet. And feel this opening in the front. All the space at the front of the body opening, opening, expanding forward. Expanding to meet the confines of the town you're in the city. And then further out still to the edges of the state, the country, to the oceans beyond and their vastness. And then infinite, infinite space. And behind now, feeling the whole back of the head and the cranium, the back of the neck and the back body, all the way down the torso, down the spine, down the legs. And feeling the whole back of your body expanding out into the vastness of space. Opening and allowing this opening to the edges of your home, to the edges of the town or the city you're in. The edges of the country the state, the country. And opening to the vastness of the ocean. The space beyond. Resting here. Resting here in this opening on all four sides. Resting in the vastness. Drinking it in, enjoying it, and sensing what it's like to be with whatever's here in your heart and in your body within this vastness. Returning in our last few minutes of practice to, just as we started, to allowing and welcoming with such compassion and love, with the love of the Shekhinah, of the great mother, of Ima Ila'ah. Welcoming what is here, allowing it in this expanded space of awareness. We're nearing the end of our sit, and I invite you to rest here in this expanded state, with this allowing attention as we sing the end of this practice, the chant, Yodu Shimcha Gadol V'Nora Kadoshu. They shall know your name, large and awe-inspiring, holy. And you can just let the chant wash over you, which is also in the chat. You're invited to sing along this melody from Navateila. Yodu Shimcha Gadol V'Nora Yodu Shimcha Gadol V'Nora Kadosh Hu Kadosh Hu Kadosh Hu Kadosh Hu. One more time, you're invited to sing. Yodu Shimcha Gadol V'Nora Yodu Shimcha Gadol V'Nora Kadosh Hu kadosh hu, kadosh hu, kadosh hu. And with gentleness and ease, I invite you to transition into the practice of being together in shared space. And you can just let your body move a bit from side to side, maybe to bring some movement, and gently open your eyes at your own pace. Thank you for your practice.
Thank you so much, Naomi. It was beautiful practice today. Friends, let's seal it as we do each day, offering an opportunity for those in mourning, those observing your site, and for those for whom it's the custom of joining the mourner's Kaddish to do so. And if you're not reciting Kaddish, as always, we encourage you to please stay present for a few moments to support those who are. If you're reciting Kaddish, please rise in body or in spirit with me, and you can unmute at this time. Yitkadal, Yitkadal Shemir Rabba, Yamad Rabba Pirkei, Yamich Malchutei, Chayekon, Yamechon, Chaye Dekol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala Ubizman Kariv V'Yimru, Amen. Yehesh Me Rabba Mevarach Olam, Ulame Amaya, Yitbarach V'Yishtabach V'Yitpa'ar V'Yitramam V'Yitnaseh. Yitadar V'Yitaleh V'Yitalal Shemei Dekudsha V'Yichud Ya'ela Min Kol Birchata V'Shirata Tushbechata V'Nechamata Da'amiran Ba'alma V'Imru Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'Chaim Aleinu V'Yachol Yisrael V'Imru Amen. Shalom B'Yomav Huya Nasa Shalom Aleinu V'Yachol Yisrael V'Yachol Yoshvei Tevel V'Imru Amen. May all of you who are in mourning, observing Yahrzeit, may you be comforted among all those who mourn. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. And if you're leaving us now, just a note to join us tomorrow on Friday. I put in the chat, we'll be led tomorrow by the wonderful Aviva Chernick, joining us from Toronto. And Rabbi Joshua Bodiger will lead us to sit into Shabbat together this Friday at our usual time. Thanks to Rachel Huguet for holding our tech space. Everyone's invited to stay with us to explore the teaching, share reflections on your experience in the chat if you like, or you can continue if you'd like. Always an option just to turn the sound off on your device and continue sitting with us if you like. Naomi, thank you so much. That was really, I think, just what the doctor ordered for Yom Ha'atzmaut. A teaching and a practice about creating or acknowledging or experiencing as great a sense of expansiveness to hold all that we feel and just deeply, deeply appreciate that. So I'd like to talk a little bit with you a little bit about this notion of expanding a sense of self and expanded awareness. And because sometimes practice is rooted and anchored in something very focused, right? Like a sensation or a sound or even the breath. Whereas this was a kind of open awareness practice. At least that's how I experienced it. And you beautifully, I think, led us to this awareness of understanding, however people think about the divine, God, the sacred, whatever terminology you might want to use, that we can find within our tradition this idea of the divine as described as this expansive, infinitely expansive, loving awareness that we can glimpse or maybe connect with in some way. And so I just want to go back to where you started about the Torah portion, Kadoshim, um, which has that refrain, Kadoshim to you, Kadosh Ani, you be be like me. Be like God says, like, right? Be like me. And what is God like? And then at the end, you brought in that beautiful Nabatahila chant. Um, and we see this language used in connection with the divine throughout Jewish liturgy of God as Gadol, as great and expansive, and Norah, awesome, and beyond. And then you also brought in at the end the Shekhinah, which is kind of the opposite end of the spectrum in terms of the loving, maternal, imminent, indwelling presence of the divine at the same time of having this sense of transcendent expansiveness that holds everything. So I just wanted to reflect that. I mean, I'm not sure there's a question here. I'm just reflecting that back to you to see if you want to make any corrections on that or edits on what I'm reflecting back to you. That's what I heard as the teaching is that we're resting in that expansive awareness with an awareness of that field of awareness as being loving, embracing, supportive.
Yeah,
Got
precisely.
that? I got that?
Totally.
Okay.
Thank you, Mark. It's beautiful to hear it in your language and precisely that. And it's something I find so comforting in this world to practice in this way and to really it really gives me this sense that wow, really like when we are in the arms of the divine
Mm-hmm.
or whatever our language is for as you said for the sacred, that there's nothing in this life that is too much for us.
Mm.
Like there's nothing that is too much. There
Say that
can
again.
be,
Say that again,
right.
please. Okay.
So, right, it's a game changer.
Yes, it is.
And it's something I think we learn through practice, through learning that how much capacity we really can develop in practice to contain all that life brings.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but there is a cultivation of that, of this sense of the right. And as I say this, I even feel my spine sits up straight, and there's
Mm-hmm.
this opening, this expansive openness, and just within that, whatever it is, right? As we, and we tasted into this today, and the sense of expandedness, but we really can use this practice working with difficulty or even with
Mm-hmm.
containing our joy, our excitement,
Right.
which, can also be a lot to contain sometimes. Anxiety and excitement actually show up in the same way in the body of as this like kind of this bubbling or this buzzing that also needs containment. So whatever range of emotion we're experiencing, and especially I think working with emotions that we've been taught are we're not supposed to feel. So I don't know if anyone here has experienced being told you shouldn't feel anger or
Mm-hmm.
jealousy or disgust or all of these emotions that really, really need containment in our world.
Right.
Um, Rage, things that need containment in our world. Otherwise, they turn into things like war. So, so we can develop that expanded container, and then it's like as we learn to open to these various experiences as they show up in the body, there
Mm-hmm.
really can be, there's nothing that we can't contain.
Right. Yeah. And thank you for naming, I think everyone here, I don't know if I didn't see if everybody raised their hand, but about, the challenges of being a Jew in this world right now, in so many different ways. And the challenges associated, the challenges for Israel, the challenges associated with Israel, and all that is happening, which is quite overwhelming. And you're in the thick of it, of course, there. And uh, lost my train of thought there for a second, just because I think I was, as I'm saying that, I'm really feeling it, how I can name every emotion right now, right? You can name uh, joy, sadness, pain, grief, fear, anger, shame, guilt, um, and more, gratitude. Because I'm also conscious, I'm just speaking personally for myself here, personally conscious of the blessing of being alive at a time, and one of the rare times in history when there is Jewish sovereignty and Jewish majority culture, et cetera. And at the same time, lots and lots of other feelings. But you put this all beautifully in that context of a theology which is real, of that expansive. Again, I just want to go back to that for a second about because Jewish theology is quite paradoxical, especially in the mystical stream that we swim in here. On the one hand, we have this sense of transcendence of you mentioned. I don't want to nerd out too much with Kabbalistic terminology here, but
Go ahead.
we'll do it in an accessible way. You used the term Ein Sof, which means the infinite, the limit, the limitless. Um, let's say ultimate mystery, unknowable, right? On the one hand, and that's the most expansive sense of we just don't know, right? And we're living in that. And you pointed to that. And then on the one hand, on the other hand, we have this sense of Shekhinah, which is the divine here, now, present in the body, in this moment, and readily accessible by knowing our own experience, right? And having both at the same time. So it is such a powerful practice, as you said, whenever we're faced with challenging emotions or conflicting emotions or powerful emotions, to be able to have both that sense of wow, of wonder, really, right? That can evoke a sense of wonder, and also a sense of being held and supported and loved. And so again, I'm repeating, because I'm repeating myself here, but um, just sharing the appreciation we Kabbalistic nerds love when you do, Rabbi Mark. Thank you, Susan. Thank you very much. First of all, also just to get Tassos here for a moment, if you don't mind putting your contact information in the chat, Naomi, I think there are a number of people here who are very interested in being in touch with you and appreciative of this beautiful um, yeah, and it is fitting that this teaching is in the week of Tiferet, of that balanced, of that integrative um, sense of holding it all. There was a question, Ricky. I don't know if you scroll up in the chat. Nomi's Ricky, right? Your voice, spoken and in song, is marvelously gentle, delicate, and inviting. And you created a God image for me that was similar, even as it was vast. Can you say more about God's arms?
Mm.
Say more about God's arms, resting in the arms of God.
Wow. Yeah, yeah. Vicky, thank you for that question. It's beautiful. Well, I'll say first of all, I think it's an experience that we can practice with
Mm,
ourselves and sense into ourselves. What is that for me? What are God's arms to me? Because like just as there's so many faces of the divine, so there are so many faces of the divine arms, right? It's like there's, soft and expansive, and then sometimes there's like firm and boundaried and holding, which can also feel so safe.
mm-hmm,
So I think it's different things at different times. But I think that sense, which I said again, I said it, I'll say it again, that like within God's arms, and as we cultivate that place in ourselves, and there are different practices I'm very, very passionate about. We don't have time to get into them today, but of cultivating an inner parent or an inner guide or an iteration of yourself at a much older age that can contain it all.
mm-hmm,
That's one way I practice with that capacity of containment. It's just the sense of like, yeah, whatever it is, welcome, and we got it. Like
mm-hmm,
whatever it is, welcome. And we, me, you, the divine together, we got this. And there's a confidence I think that develops in us as we practice in that way of like, I think I got life, because life's got me. because these arms
Mm-hmm.
have got me.
Mm, that is fantastic. And I would say also um, reflective of really like the inspiring resilience of, of people we know, in Israel too, including what you just reflected back. So, um, by the way, I see people are interested in transcript. You can always turn on or access transcript, on the Zoom. If you click on your More button on the bottom, gives you the option to show captions and also generate a transcript on the right, if you're interested. Just a little tech note there. Um, all right,
I
we
would
have to
also
go ahead. Go
I
ahead,
would just
Nomi.
love to share at the end, just I'm seeing some questions about teaching.
Mm-hmm.
I teach in Israel, so I have a weekly sit group in Israel, in Jerusalem. You're welcome to reach out to me for details. And also teach on retreats in Israel, so a few in the upcoming months. You're welcome to reach out to me for details if you're here. And for those of you in America, I'm going to be teaching on a retreat on the East Coast in early July with Or Halev. So you're really invited to join us. It's going to be fantastic.
Okay, we just put that in the chat. That's great at the Garrison Institute. Okay, thank you, Nomi. Lots of appreciation for the beautiful teaching today. And as I said, exactly what I think we need today. Really appreciate it. Thanks, Rachel. I want to thank we had sponsors for their sit today. I want to thank James and Martha Easton for sponsoring our sit in loving memory of Thomas Lind Easton. May his memory be a blessing always for the Easton family. Um, and we hope to see everyone tomorrow to practice with the wonderful Aviva Chernik at our usual time. So, Erev Tov there, Nomi, and hope to see you all tomorrow. Many thanks, everyone.